Here are my top 10 ways to help you become a scale master at your coming up honors band audition. Stick around to the end of the video or use the chapters to skip ahead to hear me play my scales according to the scale sheet we use here in North Carolina. Let's go. Having your scales memorized is like having God mode turned on in a video game. Yeah, you might have a couple problems here and there because of stress, but you're going to have such an easier time because they're coming from your memory instead of you having to read from a sheet. If this is your first time memorizing anything as a musician, try, as you're playing your scales, da da da, and then close your eyes about that third note and see how far you can get before you start messing up. You'll be surprised how much you do know and how much your muscle memory kicks in. Tip number 2, tone and musicality matter a lot. I've been a judge at these events for over 15 years now, and I can tell you that students that come in with great tone and musicality in their scales have a top-tier score potential right off the bat. What do I mean by potential? Let's say the scale is scored out of 3 points. If you come in and you've got a wonderful tone and you've got musicality to your scale, even if you miss a note or two, you're probably going to be in the upper tier of scale performers for the day. If you come in and your tone suffers in the extreme upper register or the extreme lower register or someplace else, you're going to have a already lower maximum potential score. Let's say if it's out of 3, you might actually only be able to score as high as a 2 or a 2.5. This is really important as you're practicing, so keep this in mind. It's not just about the fingerings, it's about how good you sound. Use the scales to help you improve as a player. Tip number 3 goes hand in hand with tip number 2, which is speed of your scales being played does not matter as much as the tone of your sound and the accuracy of the performance. For the district I work in, we have about 2 minutes for a student to play all of their scales. Now that sounds like not very much time, but once you have them memorized and you start putting a timer in front of you, you'll realize you probably get them done more like in a minute 30, a minute 45. Most students don't take a moment to take a full breath before they play their next scale down the sheet. So make sure that you exhale the bad air, inhale the good air before you do your next scale for the judges. If tone and accuracy is our goal, these breaths are going to help you have the best control over your instrument. Tip number 4, ask your band director what the scale sheet is going to look like at the event. For instance, are they going to have a scale sheet on the stand? Will it look exactly like yours? Or if it's memorized, will the scale order sheet have concert pitches and then your written pitch next to it? Or will it just be the pitches that you need to play? For instance, is the first one concert B flat, your C scale, like if you're a trumpet player or a clarinet player. If you talk to your teacher about that, they may actually have access to what those sheets look like so that when you're practicing, you don't have to be guessing about what that will look like at the event. I've had a couple students over the years go in and mess this part up because they didn't know what it was going to look like. Tip number 5, be an ice cold player. What do I mean by that? You need to be able to pick up your instrument whenever you want to and be able to play all your scales from memory and without any kind of warm-up beforehand. And the reason why I say this is because a lot of districts will have you wait in a line after you've warmed up for anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes before you play your scales for judges because you're waiting for the people in front of you to take it going. So the scales open up your audition. And maybe you've had 15 minutes of not playing prior to performing for the judge. Practice a lot your scales, but also practice walking up and performing cold. I bet you it'll make a big difference in how you do at your honors band audition. Tip number 6, record yourself and listen back with a critical ear. Sending your recordings to friends that you trust or band directors for criticism is a wonderful thing for us now that we live in this digital age where good sound recordings are available to almost everyone. Another idea is to just randomly play for your friends and family, especially ones that you trust, to give you not a lot of criticism, rather just to sit back and listen and say, oh, that sounded great, honey. I don't know if that was good or not. To be honest, being able to play for folks that don't know is going to help you not be quite as nervous. So in conjunction with recording yourself and sending it to musicians that you trust, like a band director or a private lessons instructor, also just play them for people who don't know any better. You'll be surprised how much this helps in the moment for being able to play your scales cold like a rock star. Tip number 7, learn the chromatic scale by whatever means necessary. A lot of people who are going to be watching this video will be first-time auditionees, and I would suggest that when you're looking at the chromatic scale for the first time and it looks like this, you'll notice that on the sheet there are sharps going up and flats going down. If that's the case, and that's a lot for you to process mentally because you really haven't thought about these notes as two different ways before, then take some time and just think about it forwards and then backwards from the very topmost note. So go all the way to the highest pitch and then work backwards on the scale sheet. Actually read the sheet backwards. And on the same breath, if you are used to reading flats more than sharps, you can actually start at the very end of the scale and work your way backwards from the end to the highest note and then work your way forward from the top note. It sounds kind of crazy, but I've had a lot of students have success with this because they haven't had to process, oh gosh, F sharp, G flat, they're both the same note as they're learning. What it does is it allows you to learn the pattern of the chromatic scale. And guys, trust me, as you get older as a musician, the chromatic scale you'll be able to recognize in its various enharmonic forms, and it won't be such a chore. When you're first learning your chromatic scale, get it done by whatever means necessary, whatever's the easiest for you. Tip number 8 goes hand in hand with tip number 7, which is about the chromatic scale and how you learn it. I always suggest to students and people who are new to the scale to start where you know the notes already. So start in the middle of the chromatic scale, work your way up a few notes, see what you know, work your way down a few notes from that starting note. Concert F is a great one, so G for trumpet clarinet, D for saxophone, concert F for trombones and flutes. If you add a few notes each day, moving from the middle of the chromatic scale upwards and downwards, you'll find that you have a lot less stress as you're learning it, and less stress means more fun, and more fun means you want to get more done. I've seen a lot of students try to learn the chromatic scale from the beginning of it, and they get really frustrated with the first 7 or 8 notes because they haven't encountered them before. Well guys, instead of doing that, just work backwards. And what you'll end up doing is you'll get to those harder notes as you already have a good 10 or 12 notes conquered already as you're moving downwards and upwards. Tip number 9 is slur versus tongue. In a lot of districts, they'll have you tongue the first scale, slur the second scale, or slur the first scale, tongue the second scale, and work in an alternating fashion all the way to the end. And then the chromatic is always slurred. Well, with that being said, the slur versus the tongue version of the scale is actually a lot closer than you think. Listen to the way that I perform my scales later in the video and you'll hear what I mean. Da 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 is very close to da. I kept both of them connected. I didn't go da 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 da. Makes a big difference in the way that you play musically when you slur and tongue very similarly. Just with the tongue notes, you have a little bit of a front end from the tongue to define the note. Tip number 10. Don't practice all your scales every day when you're first beginning your journey of learning your scales. That is going to be a wild amount of time. I've seen students do that and give up after 45 minutes. Instead, treat this like you're a professional athlete training for a big event. Today is going to be the hard scale day. Tomorrow is going to be easy scale day. And if you don't have those scales figured out yet, where any of them are easy, well then stop for a second and decide Monday is going to be first scale, Tuesday is going to be second scale on the sheet, Wednesday is going to be chromatic scale, moving from the middle down and up. Thursday is going to be moving from the chromatic scale low to the middle part, right? If you assess where you're at with your scales every day and make a plan, you will end up getting a lot farther in your journey of learning your scales than if you don't. Those who fail to plan to fail. So make a plan. You'll be great. And don't forget that every year that you audition for honor bands, the scale process gets infinitely easier. When you move from the middle school scale sheet to the high school scale sheet, we're not talking about 15 notes being added to each scale. Maybe talking about 1 octave in most cases. The chromatic scale getting maybe a few notes on the top end and a few notes on the bottom at most. The hard work you put in now to learn them correctly and with great tone is going to last you years and years of auditioning. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. If you liked it, make sure you like and subscribe, and leave me a comment down below on how you're doing with your scale preparation. Also, let me know if there's anything I can do for you. So if you need me to make a video for the high school scales, or maybe the 9-10 scales, or maybe you need a clarinet one or a flute one. I won't do the flute one, my wife will, but if you need something like that, let me know. I'll be happy to help you out. In any case, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.